You want a new stone axe. 3 camps over. A man has exactly the one you need. Heavier, sharper, better balanced than anything you can make yourself. According to the story most people grew up with, this is the moment you start haggling. You're dried meat for his axe back and forth, until you land on a fair trade. That's the version taught in almost every introductory economics class on Earth. There's just one problem. It's probably not what actually happened. So if prehistoric humans weren't using coins, and as it turns out, weren't really bartering item for item either, how did entire economies function for tens of thousands of years before anyone had ever minted a single piece of money? The barter story has one very famous problem, and anthropologist David Graeber spent years documenting it in his book Debt. The first 5,000 years. Graeber searched historical and ethnographic records for a single clear example of a moneyless society running primarily on direct, spot trade barter between strangers. The scenario every economics textbook opens with. He came up essentially empty. Instead, the earliest documented economic systems he found, going back to Sumer, ran on credit and debt. Informal IOUs tracked through memory, reputation, and social obligation, long before any coin or standardized currency existed. In Graeber's account, barter wasn't the origin of trade. It was mostly something that showed up later, often between strangers or hostile groups with no ongoing relationship, and therefore no reason to trust each other with a delayed debt. But if people weren't handing goods over on the spot, and weren't writing anything down yet either, how did anyone actually keep track of who owed what to whom? Long before writing, the archaeological record keeps its own receipts. Obsidian, a black volcanic glass valued for producing some of the sharpest cutting edges available before metal tools, has been found at sites thousands of kilometers from its volcanic source. Archaeologist Colin Renfrew's pioneering trace element analysis showed that obsidian mined in what's now Turkey was circulating through the Near East as early as 8000 BCE, and more recent field research has pushed some of these Anatolian exchange networks back roughly 17,000 years, with obsidian from the Bitlis region turning up at major prehistoric sites, including Göbekli Tepe. None of this moved through anything resembling a marketplace with prices. It moved hand to hand, camp to camp, riding on relationships that stretched across enormous distances, long before any of the communities involved had permanent cities, writing, or coinage. So what were those relationships actually built on? In 1925, sociologist Marcel Mauss published a study of gift exchange across societies in Polynesia, Melanesia, and the Pacific Northwest, and identified a pattern he considered close to universal. Gifts create obligations. Once you receive something, you're bound, socially, almost spiritually, to give something back eventually, though rarely right away. Anthropologist Bronislaw Malinowski documented a striking real-world version of this among the Trobriand Islanders, where valuable shell ornaments called the Kula circulated in a great ring between islands, sometimes taking years to return to a giver, binding distant communities together through nothing but the expectation of eventual return. A parallel system called Hxaro has been documented among the San peoples of the Kalahari. Long-distance gift partnerships, sometimes inherited across generations and spanning up to 250 kilometers, functioning less like a marketplace and more like a distributed insurance policy. When your area is hit by drought, your Hxaro partner in a wetter region owes you support. This wasn't sentimental generosity. It was risk management, running on memory, kinship, and reputation instead of currency. If gift networks and delayed obligation could carry entire economies for tens of thousands of years, why did money, coins, currency, cash, ever need to be invented at all? Here's the final twist, and it upends the assumption most people carry into this topic. Money wasn't invented to make trading easier between ordinary people. According to the history compiled from Mesopotamian cuneiform tablets, the shekel first appears around 3000 BCE, not as a coin changing hands in a marketplace, but as a unit of account inside temple and palace bureaucracies in cities like Ur and Babylon. A fixed measurement used to track debts, wages, and obligations owed to powerful institutions, originally pegged to a specific weight of barley or silver. Actual stamped, portable coinage doesn't show up in the archaeological record until roughly 650 BCE in the Kingdom of Lydia, thousands of years after those first Sumerian accounting systems. Money, in other words, was born inside an accountant's ledger, built to serve institutions tracking large impersonal debts, not on some ancient marketplace where strangers were struggling to swap goats for grain. So picture that same moment again. You, standing across from a man with the stone axe you need, no coin in either of your pockets. The textbook says you should be stuck haggling, item for item, until you strike a deal. The evidence says something else entirely, that you'd likely just take the axe, promise something back later, and trust an intricate, invisible web of obligation, memory, and reputation to make sure that promise got kept. Humanity didn't need money to build an economy. Humanity built entire economies first, and only invented money once someone in power needed a way to write it all down. Before there was currency, there was only ever one real currency: trust, remembered by everyone who mattered.